And today I'm not going to come on and talk to you about business because I don't feel that you should be beat down with what I do every single day. I truly believe that our lives are a ball of everything. It's health, spiritual, wealth, business, family. We are more than just one thing. And I wanted to talk to you today about my health journey because I have been getting a lot of questions lately from those who have been kind of watching me go through this. So I wanted to be of encouragement to you. First of all, if you're not following me, please make sure that you hit that follow button. Share this out with someone who you feel may benefit from this message as well, because it is all about us being able to help one another. I really don't play about that. I don't. I really like to share things with you because you never know what people are going through. Hey, Chris, thanks for jumping in. So, what we're going to talk about is my health journey, and maybe I'll say something that will help you along the way. Um, I also have another account called Living the Lala. You can see that on Instagram, and you also can see that on Facebook. Um, and it shows you my before and after pictures. And I am now in my fourth year of maintenance, I believe. Let's see. No, third year of maintenance. I have lost 130 pounds. I have battled weight my whole life. I've always been the chunky one. I've always had the eating issues. And when you think of addiction, you think drugs or alcohol, but what you don't think about is food. And I definitely had a food addiction. Still do. Still fight it. Still struggling with that sometimes. And addiction comes from a root, something that is in you that you are working very hard to get over. And you may be battling it your whole life. For me, it was several issues. It was abandonment issues. It was sexual abuse issues. It was just a lot of things wrapped into one that made me really feel not worthy, not pretty. So I would self medicate. And I had a beautiful life with my aunt who raised me, and I don't call her my aunt, she's my mama. So the abandonment issues came from when my birth mother gave me away at 3. Now, she gave me away for a really good reason, and I was in a loving home. But there's something about that when you feel, and you even that young, you don't know the difference. You just know that, hey, I got gave away, you know. So you deal with that, and it's not always pretty. I grew up thinking that if I wasn't a good girl, that I would be given away again. And of course, no one ever said that. I never got that feeling, but it was just something in me that I felt. And so I had to deal with those issues. And it what is a life journey battle. I am now 53 years old. I am now taking control of my life. It basically really started with my own empowerment in my 40s. But as I got closer to 50, I decided that I no longer wanted to carry all of that weight around. My weight was 285 pounds. I yo yo dieted my whole life. My whole life. You know, I've tried it all. I've done the cabbage soup diet. I've done Atkins. I did fentanyl. I did, or was it fentanyl? What was it called? I don't know what it was, but I didn't stay on it long because then they said it was heart problems. I think it was on it 2 weeks before they took it off the market. But I've tried pills. I've tried shakes. I've tried everything. I've lost it. I've gained it. I've lost it. I've gained it. And at 50, something in me just absolutely clicked. And that's when I said no more. I have a life dream like traveling the world and singing and things that I wanted to do when I was a kid, and kind of stopped those dreams once I had my child, because I had my child when I was 16 years old. So everyone told me that I could not, like you can't do this anymore. You have to go get a job. You have to go to school. And they had good intentions. But in hindsight, I always felt like I shouldn't have listened to that. I should have just gone with my heart and tried it anyway. Well, guess what? Life just took a different turn. But at 50, my son was grown. He's grown. He's thriving. He's doing great. I'm so proud of him. It's just not even funny how proud of him I am. But it was time to take care of me, and it was time to face the demons that caused me to carry the extra weight. So I did. I faced them. I started taking care of me. And right before the pandemic, I can remember the day, it was in December of 2019. I decided that I was going to get it together. And I can't tell you, because this is hard to explain, and maybe you'll understand. But there comes a time when you make up your mind that you just know that that is it. There was a switch that was flipped in me that made me realize that that was it, no more. Because I was getting ready to be 50. I'm now 53. And I didn't want to live the rest of my life uncomfortable. Um, Another thing is I will never forget, and I don't share this too often, but I'm a realtor, and so sometimes when I would be showing houses and we had to walk upstairs, and we had to show different levels of houses, and sometimes I couldn't park near the house because the neighborhood was congested in Los Angeles, and I would be so exhausted by the time that I got to the house. I'll be absolutely exhausted. And I would be like, go on upstairs. I'll be up in just a minute. And I didn't want them to see that I was absolutely exhausted. And typically, I take people out for more than just one house. We try to see 5 to 10. And so after 10, I would be dead dog, wore out. So I decided to change my life. So I spoke to a nutritionist, and I decided that I was going to follow a plan. Now, we didn't go crazy. I didn't do anything absolutely outrageous. There were no pills involved. And I had a nutritionist from earlier on, and that had something that happened many, many years ago. So she still was available for me to talk to. So we decided that I was going to eat 6 small meals a day. And when I say small meals, I mean small meals. I never ate anything over 3 ounces of protein, maybe have a little bit of vegetable and maybe a healthy starch. My plates were small. So I started to, and I would eat every 3 hours. So I'd get up in the morning, and here's a typical day. I'd get up in the morning, I'd have cottage cheese, and I'd stop coffee at the time. I now drink 1 cup of coffee a day, but at the time I didn't, because I like my coffee to taste a little sweet, and I wanted to not trigger my sweetness. And I would get up, I'd have a cup of high protein cottage cheese. Then I would go for my exercise. Now, how I started my exercise is just walking. I didn't belong well, we did belong to a gym, and then the pandemic came along and all the gyms got shut down. So living in Los Angeles, I lived in a great neighborhood for walking. I lived in the San Pedro area. And so I started walking. So I couldn't even get around the block the first couple of weeks. Forget it. I couldn't get around the block. I would stop and cry. I would sit on somebody's step and sit there and cry because it was just ridiculous, but I didn't let it stop me. So I would walk in the morning, and then I would walk in the evening. And then as I got stronger and as I started losing the weight, I would go another block, and then I would go another block. And before I knew it, I was walking 5 to 6 miles a day, because you could do that in the California sunshine 24/7 in the winter, summer, spring, fall, whatever. And so that's what I did. I would always walk down to the ocean. I would walk my neighborhood. I would just walk. That's what I would do. Walk time was my time. I would turn off the phone. I wouldn't answer any texts. I was just put in my earbuds, put on music, put on podcasts, put on things of encouragement. It was la time. So then I would come back and actually learn to run, guys, by using Couch to 5K. It's an app. And I learned to run, so I started running as well. Um, I lost all my weight within 7 to 8 months. Um, and I didn't eat after 9 p.m. And as I said, I would keep my plates very small, protein first, vegetables next, simple carbs third. I was never hungry. Hey, swimmer, thanks for joining. Never hungry because I was eating every 3 hours. And in fact, sometimes I'd be like, oh, it's not making it. Small plates, okay? Small plates. And I really got to know what my nutrition looked like, okay? I wrote down everything. I weighed everything. And that may be daunting to some of you, but if you get really serious, you know that it's really important for you to do these things. So I did that. And I learned hula hoop. I got really dependent on my watch. I do Apple Fitness. I do Couch to 5K. And during the day, as I'm sitting at my desk or whatever, I get up every hour and I keep these weights by my desk. And every hour or so, I'll do some arm exercises. I like the way my arms are defined right now. But the thing that I want to get to you now is don't ever give up. Maybe you were just like me. Maybe you have lost it 40,000 times. Maybe you are not tackling the real issues that is causing you to hold on to the weight. I encourage you to not let anything hold you back from what you want in this life. This has all changed for me and so much. I feel so much better in my body. I love wearing clothes. I love going shopping. I love being able to see this face compared to this face. This is all from me. And sometimes when I go and look back at some of those pictures, I can't believe that that person is me. Because all in my head, I always felt like this. I felt like this, but my body was telling me different. And so I encourage you to do whatever you need to do to tackle the issues on why you're holding this weight on into your life. It's okay to have an ice cream every once in a while. Every once in a while, not every day, and not 2 or 3. I would literally sit and eat a whole container of Oreos. I would eat a whole container of ice cream. I would go back for 2 and 3 servings, even though I was full, because I was hiding behind food. And that's my story. Now, maybe your story is a little bit different, but I want to give you some encouragement and knowing that you can do it. Don't give up. You got to tackle it in all the phases of your life: body, mind, and spirit. And when you get to that point, things will change. Things will change. So I've learned to make recipes, and I have a few recipes on my Instagram that are healthy that you can make in your air fryer, crock pot, just a couple of them that will help you get started. And I don't eat any more than 75 carbs a day. I'm not on keto. That just keep mine because that's a good balance for me. Is 75 carbs a day. Yes, I eat beef, fish, chicken, pork. I eat it all. But I know my portions and I know my limitations. So it's a matter of what you can do. So my nutritionists work with me on what I like, what I can handle, and what my body is. And you're going to learn things about your body that maybe you didn't know. Like that first year, I was told sugar-free popsicles were great. I was eating sugar-free popsicles all the time. And especially that first summer of COVID was so hot. And I was popping them puppies down. And I was like, ooh, this is nice. This is nice. This is nice. And then all of a sudden my weight loss stopped. And I was like, why? So my nutritionist and I looked through it. Well, those were sugar-free, but they weren't carb-free. So you need to be very careful about everything that you put in your mouth. And I know this sounds daunting, but guys, if you get this under control, if you get your eating under control and your mind under control, then you won't feel like you're being deprived of something. Because it's not like you're never going to be able to have things ever again. You're just on a go. So my weight is where I like it. However, these last 6 months, I did gain a little bit back because I have really been through some things mentally with the loss of both of my baby sisters. I started to lean back on food a little bit, but I stopped it and nipped it in the bud, and I'm right back to where I want to be because I don't ever want to go back there again. So my encouragement to you is you can and you will. You can and you will. When you get tired, you will. When that switch gets flipped, you will. And I try to be as transparent as possible on here. So I hope that I've said something to encourage you today because I am getting a lot of questions like, how are you doing on your weight loss? I don't talk about it like I used to, but because I was dealing with other life situations. And now I have some things that I have to tackle that I'm going to. I'm always going to have something to tackle. So are you. But I also don't crave the things that I used to. And when I'm upset or when something is not going my way, I take a walk. I don't go to the kitchen. I take a walk. Or I get up and I pump some iron. Or I get up and do some jumping jacks. And honestly, it makes me feel better. Or I get up and I do a hula hoop. But that's what I do. You don't have to stay a prisoner in your body. You don't have to. I am Lori Key. I am the Realty Goddess, and I'm also known as Lala. And I wish you nothing but love, light, and blessings. Why not go out on a limb? Isn't that where the fruit is? It is. Sugar. Bye, y'all.